You might think that Legends Z-A's release date of late 2025 points towards a release in late November, but you'd actually be wrong. Probably. The release date was late 2025 in English, but if we look at the Japanese trailer, we actually get a much better look at when the game is actually releasing. If we go back in time a few years, we can see Scarlet and Violet's reveal trailer gave us the exact same release date, late 2022, and it eventually released on the 18th of November, so Legends Z-A should release around the same time, right? Well, no. If we look at the Japanese trailer, it doesn't say late 2022, it instead uses the Japanese word for winter. So November is considered a winter release, but what does that mean for Legends Z-A? Well, if we go back to its Japanese reveal trailer, it doesn't say late 2025, it doesn't even say winter 2025, it instead uses the Japanese word for autumn, meaning we're likely getting Legends Z-A before November. But let's back up a bit. Just to make sure you're 100% convinced, let's ask why November is considered to be winter when winter is widely believed to start in December in the Northern Hemisphere. First of all, winter doesn't really have a set date. Some people will tell you it starts on the 1st of December, some will tell you it starts after the winter solstice on the 21st of December, and some people will tell you it's a winter when it gets cold or starts snowing. My point is that it's almost entirely arbitrary, and that appears to be quite similar in Japan. But let's take a look at the traditional Chinese lunisolar calendar. They are not widely used anymore, but they still have a cultural and traditional significance in East Asia, including Japan. The 19th solar term is referred to as a Japanese word I actually can't pronounce. I've been spending the past 10 minutes trying to do it, but I can't make the R sound. I'm getting sidetracked. We'll call it Rito, which is how I'm going to butcher it. Anyway, it's called Rito in Japan and marks the beginning of winter, with its Chinese name literally meaning start of winter. Rito typically begins on the 6th or 7th of November, depending on the year, meaning Scarlet and Violet's release date on the 18th of November would traditionally be considered winter. The traditional name for November in Japan is also Shimotsuki, meaning the month of frost, which backs up the idea of November traditionally being seen as winter in Japan. So, Legends Z-A is set to release before winter, so we now know the latest it could release is November 6th, keeping in mind that Nintendo now releases games on Thursdays. But when's the earliest it could release? First, I should probably ask you to subscribe to the Radio Mochi YouTube channel. I've done a lot of research for this video, and I really hope you appreciate it. If you do, subscribing is the best way to let me know. Going back to the traditional lunisolar calendar, the beginning of autumn is marked by the solar term, I actually don't know how to pronounce that, Rishu. Is it I want to call it Rishu. We're going to call it Rishu. The beginning of autumn is marked by the solar term Rishu starting on the 7th of August in 2025. Additionally, August's traditional name in Japan is Hazuki, meaning the month of falling leaves. As a reminder, this isn't literally when autumn starts in Japan, and I'm definitely not saying Pokémon is looking at ancient Chinese calendars to decide when they release their games. We are just looking at how traditional and cultural influences could affect how seasons are observed or perceived in Japan, including influences I haven't mentioned in this video, and how that could point towards a certain release date for Pokémon Legends Z-A. I think the main difference here, though, is that November being considered winter isn't really that outlandish. Pokemon might have just called it winter because of the vibes or something. You know, it's cold, it's close to the holidays, maybe they were just preparing audiences for a holiday release. But August is not autumn, and I can't really think of any reason outside of the traditions we've already mentioned that August would ever be considered an autumn release. Still, we'll keep August in mind, but I don't think we should consider it as strongly as the September to November range. So theoretically speaking, the earliest we could get Pokémon Legends Z-A is the 7th of August, but there's actually a few factors that could delay it for a while. August is actually quite busy for Pokemon already. From the 15th to the 17th is the Pokemon World Championships, an incredibly large event celebrating Pokemon, and it's known to sometimes reveal news for upcoming Pokemon games too. Additionally, some people are expecting a Pokemon Presents to be released in early August, which is a celebration of Pokemon where new trailers are shown for upcoming Pokemon games. I should probably say, last year was actually the first year since 2020 where August didn't feature a Presents, so It's unconfirmed, it's not 100% likely to happen, but I would be really surprised if they skipped over it again. So with the World Championships being so close, you think they'd release Legends Z-A after the fact, at least a few weeks afterwards, to avoid distracting players from this incredibly large event they're pouring a lot of money into. As well as giving time for a Pokémon Presents in early August, this would move the earliest possible date for Legends Z-A to be released to the 21st of August. But wait, there's more. A few months ago, I talked about the reveal of the Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia trading card game sets and discussed how their release date, which was unknown at the time, could point towards the release date for Legends Z-A. These trading card sets are typically trademarked 6 to 8 months before they're released in Japan. So, Mega Brave and Mega Symphony should release between July and September. On top of this, these sets also tend to be released around the same time as the games they're promoting. The Sword and Shield set was released in Japan 2 weeks after the games, Starbirth released 2 weeks before Legends Arceus, followed by Time Gazer and Space Juggler releasing 3 months later in April, and most recently, Scarlet EX and Violet EX released 2 months after Scarlet and Violet. As we established earlier, Mega Brave and Mega Symphony are releasing around July to September, so it's more than likely that Legends Z-A will release in either July or August. Okay, I was a bit off with the date, but still, Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia now have an official release date in Japan, which is the 1st of August. Since it's reintroducing Mega Evolution to the trading card game, and it's at the very beginning of August, it's fairly safe to say this set won't include any new Pokemon or Mega Evolution. So how could this affect Legends Z-A's release date? Well, this set reminds me of the Brilliant Stars set during the Sword and Shield era, which introduced the V-Star mechanic. It didn't feature any new Pokemon from Legends Arceus and was clearly meant to be a precursor to the game, which released 2 weeks after the set. Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia seem to play the same role, reintroducing a mechanic to the trading card game before the relevant game is released, giving the players time to get used to the new mechanics and building hype for the release of Legends Z-A. With these 3 events all happening in August, maybe this points towards an early September release instead? That would be the 4th of September for reference, but wait, there's more. An important thing to keep in mind is that Pokémon X and Y released on the 12th of October in 2013. Of course, Pokémon X and Y introduced Lumio City and the Kalos region, which is where Legends Z-A is set. So would Pokemon release their new game in October as well, almost as an homage? The closest Thursday to the original release date of Pokemon X and Y is the 9th of October, so if we consider this as a major factor, it could pull us towards the direction of October instead of September or November. So our range for Legends Z-A's release date is the 21st of August at the very earliest, but likely starting at the 4th of September and ending on the 6th of November. Assuming a Thursday release, all of the possible dates for Legends Z-A's release are now on screen. Unless Pokemon have just randomly changed their internal definition of winter and autumn and we're still getting a late November release. Click on the video on screen if you want to see the most likely candidates for Mega Evolution in Legends Z-A. If you leave a comment and click the like button, it will let YouTube know that I've done a good job with this video, which really helps to support the channel, and it only takes a second.